I don't want to bring anyone stay down. Tom Fury's hearing you, but you knew the but was coming, right? No, there's no proof. There's no truth. Actually, surprisingly, in this following video, it's just a thought. But a thought that I'm sure many people have had. But still, some of these things are worth saying out loud. But I'm not saying, hey, you're doomed, this is it, or anything like that. I'm just saying, in case we need this thought down the road, what if we are on our own? I mean, the people, we've always been, the plebs, if you like. But I mean, what if we're really on our own? I mean, again, our country's been sold off. Effectively, that means also our culture was sold off. And that's why you've been seeing it so easily destroyed. It makes sense when you put it all together. If the country doesn't even belong to us anymore, then that's why the culture is so easy to destroy, because on paper, we kind of don't exist. Not as a people. In many ways, because they've taken that away. And a country doesn't belong to us, so its interests don't belong to the people of it, and it's the culture of it. And the longer that goes on, the less likely it is that we'll ever get that culture back, because it'll become a relic. Even if we manage to beat certain other things, there'll be just too much of a detachment from it. We will have built a different culture by then, just to get there. Very likely what's going to happen anyway. But what if there is no help? What if it is only the people that can see the problem? What if, we're gaslit, maybe, into believing that the people of this country are all tuned into the BBC, believing every word that they say. I don't meet too many of those people. I meet some people that are just working too hard to be able to see some of it, or struggling with their kids, but I don't see too many people that are saying, oh, they said on the BBC. I mean, there are some, but I think a lot of British people know that there's something wrong. Obviously, there's the other ones, but I think a lot of British people know there's something wrong. Whichever way they are on the political scale, they at least know something's wrong. And that's something rare. That's the only thing that both sides agree on. The only thing of the political spectrum, I mean. But yeah, what if the people are on their own? I mean, don't get me wrong, I think there's certain groups that would stand by the people. So I don't think they'd ever be truly on their own, but nevertheless, what if? I'm just saying. I'm not saying this is the case, by the way. I'm not saying anything like that. But I think, but one thing I do think is that, regardless of what the truth is, because I don't know, who am I to but I think Rupert Lowe is like got to try and, I say Rupert Lowe, it may take generations, but somehow we've either got to buy our country back, fight for our country back, or yeah, we need to do something, and it may take a long time in terms of, maybe, instead of keep selling off the businesses that we used to grow here, the tech businesses and the arms businesses, everything else. If we were making arms, like cutting edge arms and stuff like that, we'd gradually be able to close those markets out to other countries. We wouldn't need them anymore. So if they try to blockade us, or see, this is the problem. If we try and get these influencers out of our country, the first thing they'll do is sanction us. And the problem is that a lot of our ties to, say, countries like Israel are reinforced by America. If we went against Israel tomorrow, America would probably turn against us as well, in terms of sanctioning, stuff like that. It's almost certain they would, because of these pacts that they've got. So So there's so much going against our country. It you know, probably mean financial ruin, almost certainly. Um, we might have to turn to a third world country in order to ever get back to being a first world country. Literally, don't even. That's not even me being hyperbolic. And again, this is just a thought experiment. Don't fucking take. I'm just going down that line of thinking. So there's some scary shit. There's some scary shit out there. I think the world's had terrible things going on in it for years, but I think in terms of scale, I think it's gone for a relatively quiet period, and I think that it's possible. It's possible that one of the worst periods for a very, very long time could be round the corner. And I mean really worst times for everybody. For everybody, even the people that think they're getting what they won't. Nobody will. It will be hell for everybody. And it could be round a corner in 100 years, if you're lucky. It could be round a corner in 6 months. It's like, yeah, and you see exactly the things that are going on right now. If you look around the end of all of the major empires, especially the ancient ones, but even more modern ones, very similar things have happened in terms of culture, even the culture wars, the religious stuff, everything, all of it. It's all, even down to the transgenderism, by the way. Everything that's happening now happened around the same similar times that these empires fell. So there's like so much precedent for what is going on right now. There's so much about what's going on that is not actually new. And this is what scares me probably more than anything else. History is a great fucking teacher of the future. And there's never been a time that I've seen in history, and maybe I'm wrong, not that I've seen so far, where any empire has faced these problems. I'm not saying, but it's like a world empire now, isn't it? But there's never been a time when they've faced these problems, any culture, anywhere, at any time in history, and got over the other side of it. One way or another, the culture, even if it tries to get over this bridge, might improve actually for 40 years and then goes down the toilet, or goes straight down the toilet. One way or the other. Yeah, and it's a story that gets told time and time again. And we're doing all the same things again. And so if any of this is true, and this is what I'm seeing is the same as what's been in history, and I think if anybody had a look, they see it's pretty damn similar. And I'm not the first person to say it. God, not by a long shot. Not by a long shot. A lot of people have seen the same things. It's not nothing I'm saying is new. But yeah, if that was true, then what we need to actually find the answer to is something that has never been found before. Nobody's ever been able to cross this bridge before, from where we are now to not being destroyed, as a people, and as in this case, world cohesion in terms of its functionality. Normally, when things like this have happened before, the world, or the world, however big the world was at that time, the world within the most influential spheres that we've got history for, regresses back sometimes hundreds of years, and we're in that spiral right now. And all these bastards that are doing this to our country, making this happen, but they're all part of it as well. They'll all go down as well. That's what I mean. Nobody wins. Nobody will win. People think that there'll be these globalists left laughing at the end, but even they will find out nothing goes the way that you think. You can't. Certain things, once you set them going, you can't really control them. It's just arrogance to think that you can. So yeah, I don't know. It's just, again, a lot of it's just uh, running thought experiment, but it's still worth, like I say, nothing is really new that I'm saying. It's just, but at the same time, none of it. There's nothing there you need to think of as true. Well, maybe some of it. You know what I'm trying to say. Sorry, I'm not expressing that properly, am I? I just can't be bothered to cut this video. That's the truth of it. I normally cut this all up to stop all this, but um, yeah, no, I think I've actually made the points that I want to make, and I just, I am just throwing it out there. Is the point I was really going to get to at the end there? Is I'm just throwing it out there. I know it's a lot of people have already had the same thoughts as me, but and I guess the one thing, because a comment I had on my YouTube earlier on, and that's that it's scary, and it scares the shit out of people, and I just want to let you know you're not alone. Like, there's a few of us out here, like, but I think we'd pull together if we needed each other. Do you know what I mean? So you're not alone. You're not alone. Um, and fucking remember that. There's people that you can reach out to. That people are more helpful than you think when they know you're in real trouble. So yeah, um, remember that. If any of you have these thoughts that I do, because we know that as much as I'm saying it's a thought experiment, that there's probably a grain of truth in a lot of things I've just said, and then yeah, just chill. Remember, we still have each other, and we will need each other. So anyway, just throwing it out there. I'm not making a statement. Tom Fury, Zero News, calling it a day for now.